Hello all. I hope you guys are all well on this very sunny Thursday afternoon in the UK. Probably the last of the sunshine you'll see for a while, and the last Thursday of the British summertime. So tonight at Middlesex University, Product Design Engineering, BA/BEng, and the Design Engineering suite of programs are really excited to host Wouter Ghysens, the Global Project Manager at AT&T. He's joining us today from Belgium, near Brussels, and he's speaking about his background, his experience, and key takeaways with a talk titled Looking Back to Move Forward. Details of the talk and Wouter were sent to your emails ahead of the talk, including links to social media pages and websites, Whoop Rental, AT&T, alongside Wouter's personal LinkedIn and Instagram profile. So feel free to connect with Wouter online, and we're really excited to host the talk tonight, Looking Back to Move Forward. All yours, Wouter.
Okay, thank you very much for that introduction. Ahmed, thank you also all of you for having me here. So I'm gonna try to share my screen. F5 brings it up front. Do you see it?
Yep, that's perfect.
Okay, super. That's the beginning. So yeah, thank you all for having me as a guest. My name is Wouter Ghysens, and you pronounce it right, by the way. So Wouter or Wouter, Walter, Robert. I'm getting called all kind of names when I'm speaking with English people, but don't worry. I'm based in Belgium, close to Brussels, living on the Flanders side, on the border, together with my wife and my 2 kids. I'm sitting at the moment in my basement. I got a little man cave here around me. And if you're gonna have any questions later on, don't hesitate to put them on the chat as you guys are used to. I would like to discuss with you guys for an hour and discuss a bit with questions and answers. So I got a couple of slides prepared. Looking back to move forward, it's called. The kid needed a name, but what I actually want to share with you is 20 years ago, I was a youngster just like all of you. I didn't know which direction to go. I didn't know, what did I want to become when I'm getting older? So I took some decisions, made some direction moves. Some were good, some were bad, and here I am. So my plan is to talk a bit about this, show you the hurdles in life which I had to take. And in the end of this presentation, when you walk away or when you're having lunch in an hour, I hope that maybe you have some lessons learned that can be handy for you in the future. At the bottom of the presentation, it's maybe hard to read, but there I put it a disclaimer stating that the whole presentation represents my personal vision and my opinion, and it has nothing to do with the vision of my employer, AT&T, just to avoid that one of you guys will sue me in court. So this is my opinion. Why am I here? Also because a couple of years ago, I met Todd Vidas, he's in your class, in Brussels on another speaking like this. And we had some chats, we kept in contact via Instagram and the social media. And so that's where we were still linked and how I get here. So Peter's also made a bird box last year, and when I saw the design, I really loved it, and I told him I want that. So I asked him for a price, I paid it him, he shipped it to me, and last summer we even had some birds in it here in my garden. So his design really works, I can tell you that. So Todd Vidas, also thank you, and Ahmed, of course, also for guiding me until here. So what I'm gonna talk about is 3 things, 3 subjects, some stuff about AT&T, my employer. I will give you an introduction to them and talk about disruptors. Then education, what did I do? And then in the end, work, and some lessons learned. So this is gonna be it for the next, I don't know, 45 minutes or so, and then maybe 15 minutes questions and answers. Let's see. So AT&T, I hope some of you have already seen the name or the logo, probably when you were in the United States. AT&T stands for American Telecom and Telegraph. That's an old name, but for a telecom company, we are doing that since 1880, 140 years old. So We have 250,000 employees around the world, the bulk, of course, in the United States. But also in the UK, we have around 100 people. And in Belgium, it's like 120, I believe. And we are actually similar to Vodafone or British Telecom, like you know them. They sell broadband, mobile telephone stuff, digital TV, 4G, 5G, all that's kind of stuff we also do. And but then in the US. And until 25 years ago, we were a telecom company as you used to know them. So we had the cabling in the ground, and once it was there, we could earn money from it. So people used it to call. They were sending faxes. They were doing ISDN stuff, all that kind of things. And then 25, maybe 30 years ago, suddenly there came two big disruptors on the telecom market. It were the mobile phones that came out, and it was the internet. And we all know what kind of an evolution that they led to. So nowadays, and probably all of you, you have your mobile phone with you, and it's connected to the internet. We as AT&T, we were leading at that moment in that transformation. So we were helping in the development of the mobile phones, the wireless mobile phones. And also we already had a big network in the ground, which led in the end to the internet. So even today, a big piece of the backbone of the internet is managed by AT&T. And what I want to say about that is those disruptors are, it's important for a big company to be ahead and to lead in those changes that are going to come. Nowadays, big companies, they need to assure that they are leading or at least be the early adopters of new technologies, because otherwise they may get behind competition too far in a short period. And in order to catch up, it can be very hard. And big companies can also be forgotten in like that. For example, if you remember Kodak, it was a company that was developing or creating films to make pictures. Nowadays, they don't exist anymore. And it's this kind of speed that is always getting faster and faster that I want to explain. For example, renting movie at house. In the 80s, when you wanted to do that, you went to Blockbuster. Every city had a local Blockbuster where you could rent a videotape or a video cassette, as we call it here. It all went fine. The business was doing great. But then mid-90s, there came the DVD, but still you had the videotapes in the back, you had the DVDs in the front, no problem. Early 2000, there came the Blu-ray, still everything was going good, video cassette, DVD, Blu-ray, everything fine. But then, like 10 years ago, suddenly there came video on demand and Netflix, and that caused a death blow for the whole business model that was ongoing like for 30, 40 years. And nowadays, kids, when I'm telling my daughters that we could rent a physical video or a tape and bring it back, and we had to even rewind it when you were bringing it back to the shop, they don't believe that. They've never seen that because all they know is Netflix. And that's what I want to point out, that you can very fast be forgotten. I saw a movie on the internet where they gave kids a Nintendo Game Boy. Like that was my youth, a Game Boy. Those kids didn't know how to work with it. And this, what I want to point out is this bloody Netflix is also a disruptor for my business, for AT&T, because we offer the internet. We invest billions of dollars to provide all the families in the United States good internet at home. But the big capacity of those internets nowadays is filled with video like YouTube and like Netflix. And in the end, yeah, they use up the bandwidth. So we at AT&T, we started to think, we've got the customers, but they're not using it. They're not using the internet for us. So how can we attract the customers and also have the customers use it for our business, our maybe videos? And that's why 4 years ago, AT&T decided to do a bid on Time Warner. It was a bid of 85 billion US dollars. And Time Warner is the company behind CNN, but also they have Warner Bros. They have HBO. And what you see here is HBO Max. HBO Max is currently what we offer in the United States, like the likes of Netflix and Disney Plus, Apple TV. So that's a thing we offer. And thanks to Time Warner, we have a lot of sitcoms in there, like Friends, The Fresh Prince, I See Batman, Sesame Street. So that's what we have now. So we did a bid, $85 billion on Time Warner. Then 2 years in court followed. Even President Trump, he's not a fan of us because we have CNN, and CNN, according to him, is fake news, all fake news. So, but still in 2018, then it was signed, it was okay, we could acquire Time Warner. And so at that moment, people having us as internet provider, we know what the people are searching for on the internet. We know what you're watching on regular TV. We're also now we know what you watch on HBO Max. So this way we can provide you with personalized ads because we know all that. And those personalized ads gain more money than the standard ads. For example, if you're a 20-year-old girl looking for a new pair of sneakers from Adidas, I'm sure that a company like Foot Locker will pay more to target you with their advertisements than instead of targeting a 50-year-old happy camper that is not even interested in new shoes. So at this moment, you see, we as a bloody telecom company have become a media company, and we're also selling ads, and we're doing all kind of other stuff that was in the past with other companies. What we also have is a lot of debt because of the big price we paid for Time Warner. We now have a debt of 200 billion US dollars around our neck. So in the next years, I don't expect a lot of bonus for myself, but also not, yeah, we will have to cut some costs. That's for sure. But yeah, we had to reorganize as a company. Good. According to the McKinsey Global Institute, there are 12 big disruptors. Out of those 12, 6 are or what AT&T is targeting in its business. So mobile internet at the top left, you can see there. Maybe I can use my notes here. Pointer. Voila. So the mobile internet, it speaks for itself. We are a telecom company. Renewable energy. If you want to have mobile internet, meaning mobile walking with it, you also need energy to use that. So we're also in that working in that area. We also need to automate work. Like for myself, I'm a project manager. I need to fill in a lot of Excel files every day. If AT&T can find a way to automate some of that work, they will for sure not hesitate to do it to save some money. So that's another thing we are working on. Cloud technology. So our customers all are moving to the cloud, but they need, when you go to the cloud, you use internet. But when you do it from home, if you're not behind a VPN tunnel, it's not secure. So we are providing secure access to clouds. The same Internet of Things, I will come on that later, and autonomous vehicles, that's also a business we are interested in and working on them. So again, so with all those disruptors, how do we work on that? We have some clever people in the company, but we also work a lot with young startups. And we have raised 6 foundries. And each of the foundry is like a laboratory, you can call it. And so we have there, it's a laboratory full of geeks that are developing high-tech new stuff. And each foundry has its own specific things. Like Atlanta, you see here, they are known for the connected house and the connected car. Houston is for healthcare. Israel is for the cybersecurity. Then we have Palo Alto for software-defined networking, Plano for business, and another one in Plano for Internet of Things. And so this is where things are being developed nowadays. Every year in those foundries, we see more than 500 startups with young people like you guys, where we invite them, they bring their ideas, and together we develop things there. And this is really something where people like you guys can come to us and share ideas and develop things. And just to give you an idea, AT&T has 3 patent applications per day on average, and that's already since years. So we're also making a lot of money with technologies we have that are nowadays in the iPhone and whatever telephone you have. So those patents is also something we earn money with. Sorry. Here are those foundries and market disruptors a bit in 6 services that we offer. So 6 business branches in which we believe that can make a difference in the future and where we heavily invest on, or those you can see here at the left. Let me go into detail on that. So first, the connected car. There's a big chance if today you buy a new car that it's a connected car, meaning a car with a SIM card in it. It's working with software and hardware in that car that gives you extra services. And those services, what can that be? Like streaming music, having Spotify on the dashboard of the car, but also you can see news. You get real-time GPS information, Google Street View. So when you drive somewhere, you can see if the house you see has a swimming pool in the back, yes or no. Also, the car can have a Wi-Fi hotspot, very important for the kids in the back so that they can watch YouTube and keep their mouth shut. Traffic assistance, calendar synchronization with all kind of stuff, but also synchronization with your garage directly when you're driving. It's what you see in a Tesla nowadays. So we are now since 7 years or so developing this kind of stuff. Like when you buy a new car in the US, the first 3 months you get the SIM card and the connectivity that comes with it for free. And if you then get an account on it, it's automatically with AT&T because we developed it with the car manufacturers. So that's one thing. Then we have the smart cities. In Belgium, we have Antwerp here that is rolling it out. Probably you will also have it in London. In AT&T has deals in the United States with Chicago, Atlanta, and Dallas, where we have city staff getting access to the internet. And we are equipping all kinds of smart technologies in the city to make it a more intelligent city and to have things go better. That's the thinking behind it. For example, the street lights. They can be equipped with microphones and speakers and Bluetooth sensors, motion detector sensors, cameras. So when city staff, they're everywhere in the city, they can access this. For example, those streetlight sensors, they can detect the hard sound of a shooting somewhere. Automatically, 911 can be alerted, and 911 can look at the camera where they saw the sound, where they heard the sound. And the motion detection can then check how many people in that area are walking there, how many people have passed, and they can check that because of the Bluetooth or the 4G signal from the telephones that was passing. So then they already have an idea how many people are there. And then they also maybe know how many ambulances that they have to send to the place where the shooting was. And also they can remotely arrange traffic lights so that traffic can pass directly to the hotspot in the fastest possible way. So that's a smart city that we are working on. Then 5G, we are, since this year, we have rolled out 5G in the US. Last week, we got the announcement that we are the fastest 5G provider in the US, which is good news. And yeah, so 5G, you probably heard also a lot about that. So that's the future for mobile phone connectivity. And not only mobile phones, also IoT, Internet of Things. Then here, the connected business. For example, we as AT&T, we have a partnership with Red Bull. Red Bull, you may know from the drinks, but also they have the Formula One cars. And we sponsor the Formula One cars. So on Max Verstappen, his car, and on the spoiler in the back is our logo. We invest a lot of money in that with all kind of developments. And Red Bull asked in favor to provide them with a smart refrigerator. So we have now a couple of refrigerators equipped with a SIM card. So whenever the door goes open, it's being counted. When Red Bulls are taking away out of the fridge, the fridge knows it. And when it needs to be refilled, it will send a text message to a guy that comes to fill it. So that's one thing. Other examples we have are like in Florida, where we have a chip following how oranges are growing. If there is rain and wind, what is the temperature? Is there a storm, yes or no? All that is being tracked. And then from that big data that comes out, it will calculate when it's the best time to harvest the oranges. And thanks to that, a better planning can be made to harvest it, but also to make the orange juice, to avoid that there are peaks in the bottling. So this way we can have also less water consumption with feeding the trees. And so this way management of the nutrition is done in a better way with just a matter of a couple of simple chips and SIM cards. Then we have connected health. This is a big one, especially in these times with COVID. But we have developed some equipment that is normally in the hospital, but now you can take it home. And this way the doctor can monitor you from your home. So this device can be equipped with Wi-Fi connectivity or with 5G or 4G. And this way we can monitor people at home. Another thing is the smart house. Probably you also know what this is. It's like when you can remotely set your alarm, turn on the lights at home, the chauffage, turn on the TV, all kind of stuff. You can manage your house remotely. So that's also another thing we have developed a lot in the last years, and that we are rolling out in the US. So that was a lot of talking. That was all about AT&T, my employer. Then the next thing I'm going to talk about is education. What did I do? Sorry for that. So education. Quickly said, I studied economics and modern languages in the east of Belgium in a college for 7 years. Normally you would do that in 6 years. But when I was 17 years old, my focus shifted a bit from my books to girls and going out and beers and bikes and cars. I'm a petrol head, by the way. And then I had to retake a full year in school. So back then that costed my parents some money because they had to pay school again and pay. Yeah, I was living 1 extra year in their house. So let's say it like that. But still, I kept going and I kept studying, and I'm happy that I did this because a diploma, the certification from school, is really required. And you can see it like a key. With this key in Belgium, I got to go to high school because without I was not allowed, or university. And when you finish university, again, you get a diploma to be able to be invited to apply to a job on the business market. So studying is really very important. I don't have to tell you guys that, but I always want to stress it. If you have to double a year, it's not the end of the world. But what I remember back from that period is that, looking back, is that we only tasted a bit of everything, but it was not more than the basics. It's not that after you finish school, you can say like, now I'm an economician or a language interpreter. No way, you're just a rookie that knows some stuff. We in Belgium, we have a small country, and a lot of people are just passing by our country, coming from France to the Netherlands and go so on. So it's important that we know languages. So that's why in Belgium, we have 3 official languages that everybody has to know. It's Netherlands, Dutch, my own language, French, and also German. And in school, we are also being taught English. So that's why most people in Belgium speak 4 languages. It's because our neighbor countries speak those languages, and that's why we need it. And so in 1998, I finished my secondary education, and then what? I had no idea, to be honest, what I wanted to do. We were in the time of the pre-millennium. So they told me, yeah, in the computer business, you will find a job. So maybe that's something for you. I said, okay. So I went to high school, and there I started to study applied informatics, they call it, IT. So it was the time that we were going from a CD to the DVD, from Windows 98 to Windows 2000. We had 56K connections and going to broadband, beginning of broadband at that time. But there was no way we had 4G connectivity the whole day with us. I learned a lot in that school. My view on IT also changed, because when I started there, I thought the IT guy was the guy who knew everything about computers. So when you're working in a company, you have to develop the website, develop the database, but also do the rollout of Windows 2000, functional analysis, all kind of stuff. It's not like that. I learned that everybody gets his piece of the puzzle, and you just do one thing and focus on that and make sure you do it good. We also had some job fairs, and some of my classroom people in my class, they had already been offered contracts even while they were still studying. Not me. I was not clever enough or not smart enough for that. But yeah, so that was the time when I finished my high school. And then, and this is an important thing for you guys, I graduated. That was 2001. So good news for me. So the fun part could start. I could apply for a job, and applying, I see that myself a bit as seducing a girl or a woman. You will have to invest a lot of personal time in it. You have to show off, you have to sell yourself, you have to do some traveling, cope with rejections, of course, recharge your batteries and reboost your ego sometimes. And you can not always play too hard to get, because in the end, yeah, this job, it will pay off for your future. So you need one. And I want to give you some tips for applying. The first thing I would like to share is know yourself. Which job would fit you? Would you like to start your own business, or would you like to work at a company? Make sure that you know this. If you want to go work for a company, would you like a big company or a small company? That's also a difference. Know your character and find what are your qualities and your skills. What do you like? What do you hate? What do you value? For example, flexibility. When I started to work, I had to drive every day 1 hour to Brussels and 1 hour drive back. Would you do that? Yes or no? Are you stress resistant? Are you a team player or more like a lone wolf at your own? What are your strengths, your weaknesses? All that kind of stuff you need to put down on a paper. And especially before you're going to apply for a job, make sure you can answer that on questions. Secondly, do some market research. What kind of a function or company or maybe which sector would you like to work in? My wife, she's a recruiter at Adecco. It's a Not sure if you know it in the UK, but Adecco, yeah. And she says sometimes she has people sitting in front of her that are coming for a job, and she tells me what she hates the most is people that are saying like, "What can you offer me?" No, that's not the way it works. So you should know what you want and what you want to go for. I would suggest to start investigating yourself. For example, on LinkedIn, that's a tip. Another tip: make sure you have a LinkedIn profile, and there maybe check which people you know or people that you know via with a job that you would like to do. For example, if you would like to be a sales guy at Coca-Cola, check who does this job today and check what studies they did. Check maybe you know an uncle from you knows that person. I'm just saying that, but or get in contact with that person and tell him, I want your job in 10 years. This way you will get in contact with the company, but also you will get maybe a better idea of the function and the business and the whole sector. So that's a tip I would like to share. Another thing is personal branding. I mean, try to have like an elevator pitch. Summarize yourself in a couple of phrases which you know by heart and that you can tell directly on the fly to a recruiter, and that they know, okay, this person I can use for this or that job. Another thing, and this is probably not a secret, but the social media is also important. When companies are recruiting nowadays, they will check your name on Google, and whatever movies that come out then on YouTube, or messages you posted once on Facebook, or maybe a Twitter post from 10 years ago, that could come up there and maybe have an impact on your application. So make sure that is also up to date and neat. Also know that try to attract a job which fits you best. The job will not come by itself. You will have to work for it, and you will have to work hard for it. And make sure you have a clear focus on what you want to go for, and don't give up until you have that job. And so yeah, in the end, there will be some negotiation for a contract. In the beginning, I would say don't be too picky. If you have a job, whatever you learn from it, you can take it away for later. And with your first jobs, you will not have to, yeah, don't focus too much on the money, maybe. So yeah, that's the lessons learned I wanted to share with that. So the next thing is, for myself, I had a contract. Woohoo! I could start working. So, and that's the next phase of my life I wanted to mention. So the work. I had the chance to start working in Belgium at the picture you see there. That was the building where I was working. It's a bank in Leuven. I did a help desk. I provided technical support in 3 languages at the bank. And the first thing I found weird, but that's how it worked. KBC, the bank, no, looking at my picture there at the right. So I was working for a company called Segeka. Segeka had a contract with AT&T, and AT&T had a contract with KBC. So I was actually the 4th level of all the companies earned some money on my back. Let's put it like that. So that was the setup where I was working. I was working 6 days out of 7, and it was just a temporary contract that I had with KBC. And then in 2004, I got offered a job at AT&T directly, still for Segeka. That was the construction. So I started at the help desk of AT&T as a tier 1 agent. Tier 1 means you're getting the phone calls. 2005, I was tier 2, meaning no more phone calls, but solving much more complex issues. In 2006, I became the team leader there. So no technical solving anymore, but more training people, being the single point of contact for also other people that were recruited, doing all kind of stuff. And then in 2007, finally, I got a contract from AT&T, so no more subcontracting. Directly, I could work for the company I'm still working for nowadays. So 2007, I became the operations manager of the help desk. 2010, second level operations. And then 2013, I was doing the management of several other teams, tier 1, tier 2, and the management. It was all going well until we got a phone call from the US, and they said, we need to save some money. It was just at the moment that my director was on pregnancy leave, and they said, okay, now we need somebody that is going to lead the migration or the transition of this help desk here. It's going to move to Czech Republic. And they asked me, and I said yes, because otherwise they would bring somebody from the United States who was going to do it. And so yeah, that's for more than a year. I was then in Czech Republic, traveling all the time, but I had to bring all work from Belgium to Czech Republic. It was quite a hard period, especially when you have to let go a lot of your colleagues here in Belgium. On the other hand, I learned a lot from this project because really I received carte blanche. In Czech Republic, I had to make sure I had 40 people found, train those people, get 40 computers for those people, get all kind of stuff, apparel for those people that they could do their job. It was challenging, but very interesting. I learned a lot. What else? So, and then in 2014, when all the work was in Czech Republic and a lot of my colleagues were let go, then AT&T said the project was done well, so we give you a job as project manager. You can still continue your work in Vilvoorde, but then in another business unit. And that's where I still am today. So I'm a project manager, service delivery, meaning that I'm going with sales guys. Let's say a customer of ours is Coca-Cola or General Motors, whatever. They have factories all over the world and they want to connect them with each other. So I'm going together with sales. We make a price offer for those networks. And at the moment that the deal is signed, I'm starting to follow it up until the moment that all couple of hundreds networks are rolled out and working. So that's my job nowadays, following up those projects. And sometimes such a project can take 3-4 years. So that's why, even though I'm doing this job already for 6 years, I've not completed that many projects yet because it's taking so much time. Other stuff I do, you see there at the bottom, is AT&T Aspire. That's what I'm doing here actually. So speaking to youngsters and kids. Also, we develop some kind of robots for young kids so that they get an interest in STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, so that we can encourage young people to also go into engineering or whatever job. So that's all about me as AT&T in my work. And then after office hours, because I always want to, now that's a valuable lesson I would like to share with you as well, is that I took away from a teacher in school. He told me, always make sure you can do 2 jobs. And he was a teacher back in the time, and nowadays he is doing a restaurant. And that's something I kept from him in the back of my head. I may be project manager for AT&T, but I always need to make sure I can do something else, that I can earn some money with something I also like very much. And that's what I've been doing after office hours. So back in the 90s, I was working as a student in a juice factory. Not the most interesting job, but I was earning some money to buy a scooter and later on have big rims on my car and some music in my car. I was also, my father, he had a turning lathe, yeah, to make wooden baseball bats. So I was selling that in school. I was also copying illegal CDs and selling them, and I earned some good money with that. So I could go out in the weekends and have some beers with friends. And when I was going out, I met people that wanted flyers, so papers or posters for their parties. So I also started doing that. And after, when I was studying IT, I also knew how to make a website. So I was also making websites for friends for all kind of events. And I also started in secondary occupation making those websites. The name was Whoop, web design, Whoop. W is from Wouter, my name, and Hoop is the city I used to live in, Hoepertingen. Those together was Whoop. So I did all kind of stuff. I was also working on cars. When I was doing websites, I made a website of my little village. And once it got, all the people got to know it, I put it Google AdWords on it. So when people were clicking on it, I was earning some money with it. So I was doing all kind of stuff, putting videos on YouTube with commercials. But still, 2017, I was like, my kids were growing up. I don't want to do all those things anymore. Web design, I wanted to put a bit aside because I was not up to date anymore with the latest trends. And when people were asking me stuff for a website, I could not invoice all the hours I spent on it because it would be too costing for them. So, and then I thought I have to reorient myself, go in another direction. And I put on the paper, what do I have? I have a passion for cars as a petrol head. I'm living in Belgium, so there is high taxes on income. But another thing, in Belgium, a lot of people have company cars because company cars are not, sorry, no. Company cars are not taxed so much. That was my daughter, by the way. The taxes on company cars in Belgium are not so high. So I have some storage here in my house. I'm living close to Brussels. I speak well my languages. I know how to make a website. And I want to earn some money, but from home, from my couch. I don't want to drive a lot around. So that was something I had. And then I was looking for a low investment, a high return on investment. I wanted to have some profitability. I did not want to work the whole year through, just nowadays, seasonal activities. And I wanted to have happy customers. And then I was thinking all kind of stuff. What can I do? But I knew something new was going to come. And then in the end of 2016, 2017, I started with roof bars and roof boxes. So instead of Whoop web design, I was now doing Whoop rental services. And I said, I don't want to invest too much. So I invested a bit of money, bought a pair of roof bars on 100 euro, and I sell them. It was for an Audi A5. That was my company car back at the time. And there were not many people in my company, but also not in Belgium that had those roof bars. So I put them on a website, second-hand website, and I said, you can rent my roof bars 25 euro a week. And so from that 100 euro that I bought them for, I earned 400 euro in the first year just by renting them. So I had a capital of 500 euro in that year. And then in 2017, I said, I can make something from this. So I invested 500 euro. I bought 10 pairs of roof bars in total and a second-hand roof box. And out of that, I earned 4,500 euro. So in the end of 2017, I had 5,000 euro capital, and capital meaning so money in my pocket, but also I'm counting the value of the roof boxes. My whole basement nowadays is full, and I'm also renting a garage full of boxes. And so this is what I kept on doing every year. So I invested quite some money in material. I earned some money. And so then you can see how the capital was growing. And nowadays I've here 75 different pairs of roof bars, because for every car nowadays you need a special type of roof bar. And I have 30 roof boxes. And so this is what I'm doing nowadays. And if tomorrow AT&T decides that they want to let go of me because of the crisis or whatever, this is going to be my second job. I'm going to focus on this because I like it, and I always have happy customers. Really, people that go on holiday, they come here on a Friday evening. They're leaving on Saturday, so Friday evening they're coming here. We have a beer. I install everything on the car, and they leave us happy customers. 1 week later, they come back, bring everything back. They get back their caution or the deposit, not sure how you call it. And again, I hear all the stories about the holidays. So this is really something I like to do and what I would like to do more in the future, probably. So that's about Whoop rental services. I still wanted two more slides and then I'm finished. I still wanted to tell you about the difference between a boss and a leader. The picture says it all. Also, make sure when you're working with colleagues in your future job that you have the right attitude, and you can be sure everybody makes mistakes, but learn from it. If colleagues have to explain it a second time, no problem. But if they have to explain something you didn't know a third time, they're gonna be like, come on, man, get yourself up and write it down or whatever. So learn from it, be constructive. Sometimes in my job, I've got to do things which do not sound logic at all. And but still, there's some kind of a leader that believes in it, and I've got to execute it. So be constructive. If you're a team leader or a manager from a team, try to find people their strong skills and delegate work to them. I've had people that were in AT&T in my team that I could not do much with, but they were protected by the unions and all kind of stuff. But then by sitting with those guys and girls, we managed to find what they liked, what they could do for the business, that and with some out of the box thinking, we could get them to get useful for us. And both of us were winning at that moment, them and myself as a team leader. So this I still want to share. An expression of my director was, keep going, one day it will come, and where necessary, take baby steps. And she's often telling me that if I want to go too fast with a project, like, hold on, baby steps, it will bring you there. And then some tips to move forward is to find yourself a good mentor. This can be somebody that you know from sports, or maybe your trainer from sports. In my case, my director is my mentor. She's having, besides our normal one-to-ones, she's also coaching me on a lot of things. And I also used to have the boss of my mom. He was also coaching me and giving me tips about life and about all kind of stuff. When I needed somebody to discuss or to share an opinion with, he would give honestly feedback to me, and try to have some kind of a mentor in your life. That really helps. Keep the CV up to date. The curriculum vitae, not sure if it's also used in English, CV. Make sure you can do more than one job. That's obvious. Another thing somebody once told me is pick the money from the streets, because otherwise somebody else will do it for you. And it's indeed like that. There are all kinds of opportunities to earn some money, maybe small money, sometimes big money, but make sure you do it and watch for it. Believe in your investments, especially nowadays with internet. Everything is connected. You can find everything on the internet. You can do all kinds of investments. Another thing, try to help others. And with that, you can really, with not much money, help people everywhere around the world. An initiative I'm doing, and I share with a lot of people, is Kiva. Kiva is, easily said, a farmer in Africa has 2 cows. One of the 2 cows dies, and suddenly this person has only 50% left from his income. If the other cow dies, he will have nothing anymore. So Kiva will then collect money from people everywhere in the world and buy, it can be €1, buy that farmer a new cow so that he can continue back with farming. And that farmer will then later on, when he has the cow, pay back month by month, cent by cent, that money he got for the cow. So kiva.org is the organization. I like them very much. And this is how I try to help people everywhere. The last thing is, don't be too picky on your first jobs. I already mentioned that. And keep studying. Yeah, everybody will have to keep studying nowadays with everything, with all those evolving technologies and those disruptors especially. Yeah, studying is for all of us mandatory. So this is it. This is what I had to share. Here are my details in case you get any questions or you want to follow me on the Instagram or LinkedIn or email me. Don't hesitate to reach out. So Ahmed, I'm at the end of my presentation.
Amazing. Amazing. Thanks a lot, Wouter, for your presentation. It was really inspiring. But both the background in terms of AT&T and the kind of activities within the company at present, in the past, and also moving towards the future in terms of, you know, in the next year and coming years as well, smart cities, Internet of Things, etc. What was also really inspiring was your key lessons from your own educational experience and your background, and the key learnings and takeaways for the student. So thanks a lot for that. The Wouter's contact details were on the last slide, and hopefully if Wouter agrees, we can always circulate the slides to you guys as well.
Sure.
So you guys can always use that in terms of, you know, going through those again and gathering your thoughts and connecting with Wouter in the near future. Feel free to ask questions on the chat, guys. There's a couple coming through now. And if you wanted to go live and ask in person and turn on the video and microphone, feel free to just raise a hand, etc. So then I can also, unmute you guys as well. So Tom Millward, he asks, what's been the highlight of your time at AT&T?
The highlight. We've had really good times. When we were still with the help desk in Belgium, we had like 70, 75 people We have had amazing parties. We had an amazing atmosphere. We had a very strong management and leadership. So we really had fun during the day and also in the evenings. And maybe it was because we were still a young team. So people, they had no 8 to 5 mentality. You could come there at 7 o'clock in the morning and work till 11 at night. And it was just all big fun there. It was really a shame when we had to let go of the help desk and let many people go. We had a really good time there.
And Joseph asks, once we graduate, apart from applying online, what other ways would you recommend to try and get a job?
Your own network is going to be important. People that you know, maybe people older than you that are now graduating, that you have a contact with. Keep in contact with those guys and girls via LinkedIn or via other social media. But via that way, you can also see what companies they go to work for, probably because they have the same interest or they do the same things in school as you. That can also help you to get to know companies, what they do there. And maybe if those older people want to move on, you can take their job. Yeah.
No, definitely. And following on from the first talk last week as well from Rabia Arif, she will be coming around and helping you guys. She's already helped the second years in product design engineering with a little workshop on LinkedIn. And I'd definitely recommend all of you guys to take on the advice that Wouter gave today in terms of starting off your LinkedIn profile, starting to connect with alumni from your programs, with the lecturers that are coming in for the guest lectures, because the power of the networks and the algorithms from LinkedIn as well also allows you to then start connecting with the connections of the people that you've connected with. So that's pretty brilliant as well. The other thing that I found really interesting, Wouter, is in the current situation and the current climate with COVID, having a second source of income or second income, revenue, or even a third or fourth, etc., is really pertinent, especially, for example, when people have maybe lost work, or, had to go on subsidized work or furlough, etc. So what's it called? That's always a great way, and it's nice to see, the entrepreneurial kind of aspects in terms of, the ideation behind, creating a brand for yourself, or a sub brand, creating a product, service, system, etc. And doing that on the side and running that in parallel with your activity, and then, for example, growing it over time. Yeah. So what advice would you give them in terms of, ways to identify a gap in the market, if they're not necessarily experienced in that sense?
Look, first of all, make sure that you do it in the domain where you like things. Like my domain is cars. I really like cars, but maybe you're a fan of sport, or I don't know which domain, computers, and try to plow through it. Try to investigate really the domain, and maybe there are opportunities that you can find in there. Like in the past, 20 years ago, I really liked the internet and websites. So that's why I dedicated myself to become a website designer. And that's what I did then for 10 years. It's something that, if you like to read books, maybe, don't start another bookshop, but do something intuitive on the internet. Possibilities are limitless. You can do all kind of stuff on the internet.
Amazing. And I love interaction there. So Brady, I've unmuted you, and feel free to ask your question live to Wouter.
All right. Thanks for the talk, Wouter. Really appreciate it. When earlier in your talk, where you were talking about, connected cities, connected cars, connected products. I know for me there's a lot of that sounds really great, but there's also a part of me that sounds kind of terrifying. That's a lot of data and information about people out there that's just out there. So my question is what sort of considerations are given to privacy and data protection as these things, move forward and become more connected?
That's a question that comes every time I give that presentation. It comes back, and I feel the same. I'm also like, why should I share my data, my privacy, all my stuff in a city, and especially in such kind of connected cities? You're forced to share some kind of stuff sometimes. Like when you drive with your car into a garage nowadays, it's making a picture of your license, of your plate. When you drive out of the garage, they know you were there, and if they can share that information with others, they can maybe earn some money with it. That's the world where we're in today. Big Brother is watching us and earning some money on our back. I honestly don't like it myself neither, but they're all doing that within the restricted where it's authorized. For example, I was just reading an article about COVID in China. It seems there's no more COVID in China. But what they don't have there is like those privacy things that we value so much. The people there maybe have to give up their privacy because the government knows everything about you. On the other hand, they're without COVID. I would also like to be without COVID, honestly. I'm home working since February, so I'm a bit fed up with the home working, but it's the same for all of you guys. It's the same for everybody.
Awesome. And Cyprian, Florin Ephraim, he asked, he must have caught a glimpse of your cat at the start, and he asked, what's the breed of your cat? He found it to look pretty nice, and he said, can we get a goodbye from the cat?
The cat is now upstairs. It's what is it called? A blue Russian, they call it in Belgium. A blue Russian is the breed. Not sure if it's literally translated like that, but
awesome.
That's the cat.
Thank you, Wouter. That was a slightly unusual request, but hopefully that keeps you happy, Cyprian. And Mujib asked a question as well. In a competitive field, which skills should we really focus on to get an upper hand?
Which skills depends on what your interests are. Like, yeah, depends on the job. The skills you need to apply for a job depend on the job, of course. But what should you focus on is make sure you're up to date with latest technologies. In my personal business with AT&T, for the past 5 years, Excel, Microsoft, a simple bloody Excel was important. And now since a year, everybody is shifting from Excel to Power BI, business intelligence. And that's the new buzzword, and we all have to focus on that. And besides that, they are also throwing with hype words like lean and agile to our head. But depends a bit on each job, the job you do. Yeah, so.
Amazing. Any other questions, guys, either in person or on the chat? Feel free to send us through. I'll mention those if any come through, or if there's any raised hands. However, from myself, I'd love to finish off and conclude by saying a massive thank you again, Wouter, for taking your time out from your schedule and joining us this Thursday evening. So a massive thank you from all of us at Middlesex University. And yes, guys, feel free to connect with Wouter on those social media platforms, LinkedIn, Instagram, and check out the websites as well. And yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you all. Thank you. Really, it was a pleasure. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Look forward to you all joining us again next Thursday, where we will shortly send through the details for the next speaker and the talk and the new Zoom link. So take care all, enjoy the rest of the week, and see you guys all next Thursday.
Okay.